The topic of my research is Impact of Board Characteristics Reform on Capital Structure, Evidence from Dhaka Stock Exchange Listed Tannery Companies. So before I start, I need to clarify that this is my working project report and the data samples are very minimum in this research here. So without a further ado, I will start. So about corporate governance, the notion of corporate governance has become significant due to possible conflict of interest across the participants of capital structure. And according to Bhagat and Bolton, corporate governance is an upright thing that helps with the scrutiny and harmonizing of firms and enables them to avoid failure. So by this definition, we can understand that how important the corporate governance has now become for the developing and developed countries. As my research includes capital structure, so what is the capital structure is another significant feature that affects the entire operation level of corporations and has drawn attention in the field of accounting and corporate finance. So basically, the corporate capital structure is basically the combination of the uses of debt and equity of any particular company. Between the corporate governance and capital structure, there are many studies have developed. Some find the positive association and some found it the negative association. So between the corporate governance and capital structure, a positive findings has been found and suggesting that cost of capital structure will be reduced by adopting strong corporate governance mechanism, which will enhance firm performance as well. About the current context of Bangladesh corporate governance scenario in Bangladesh. So a few or a good number of research has been done on this topic in Bangladesh as well. So according to Devnath et al., Bangladesh is categorized as an emerging market, which also categorized by factors such as political impact, close ties, business organizations, and key presence of family-controlled organizations that could result to information asymmetry. So in Bangladesh, what we can see that in most of the sectors, the organizations are mostly family controlled. So that is the another factor where the corporate governance were very weak. Number of studies have revealed that capital structure of average large publicly traded companies in Bangladesh has been manipulated. The business sector of Bangladesh, like other nations, is tormented by poor monitoring rules, the scarcity of second-order entities, and the inadequate monetary shareholders' protection. And finally, in 2006, based on the comply or explain approach, Bangladeshi capital market saw the main corporate governance code. So corporate governance guidelines in Bangladesh. So as we can see that the need for corporate governance in Bangladesh, and after that, there were three regions where the corporate governance guidelines has been reformed. The first one is established in 2006. Since it was a state of compliance or explained like many other nations, Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission took a voluntary or soft approach to governance principles in the beginning. So in 2006, the guideline was either you comply or you explain. Now in 2012, the first amendment was done, and it says that a review was conducted to strengthen the visa corporate governance guidelines, raising the principles to comply from comply or explain. So which means that from 2012 onwards, the companies have to comply the corporate governance guidelines. Now there was another amendment in 2018, and that amendment shows that on 3rd June 2018, BSEC amended the Bangladesh Corporate Governance Guidelines 2012 to fine-tune the corporate governance guidelines. The Corporate Governance Code 2018 also specifies the specific qualities of the persons to be appointed as additional independent directors identical as Bangladesh Corporate Governance Guidelines 2012. In the code, the necessary educational and administrative qualities are spelled out. So in 2018, the companies were more specific, the corporate guidelines were more specific, and they made it mandatory for the companies to follow. Moving on, the literature review and hypothesis development. One of my independent variable is board size. Now, from the board size, also the many studies have found about the board size and capital structure. If you look at, according to Dimitriopoulos, board size has an influence on the firm's capital structure. The supervisory board of any firm is the main decision-making authority. Feng et al. Examined the relationship between corporate governance and capital structure and found a positive association between large board and capital structure. Alternatively, Swipshart found a negative and significant link between board size and leverage ratio. So here we can see that both positive and negative results have been found between the association between board size and capital structure. So my hypothesis one is the negative relationship between board size and total debt ratio. Total debt ratio is the representation of capital structure. The next variable, variable is outside directors. Again, there were some positive findings and negative findings as well with the outside directors and capital structure. So the second hypothesis was the negative relationship between outside directors and total debt ratio. Third one is managerial ownership. So again, some positive and negative findings has been found based on managerial ownership and capital structure. So here my hypothesis is the positive relationship between managerial ownership and total debt ratio. Lastly, my fourth independent variable was frequency of board meetings. Now here again, some positive findings and negative findings as well. So here my hypothesis is the positive relationship between frequency of board meetings and total debt ratio. About the research methodology, the research samples were based on the secondary data. I collected the secondary data from Dhaka Stock Exchange for the period of 2016 to 2012, 2022. And as you can see, this is my model. The independent variables are board size, outside directors, managerial ownership, frequency of board meetings. My two control variables are farm size and return on asset, and dependent variables are total debt ratio. Now, from this model, I have done the multiple regression analysis, correlation, and I will explain it. So about the correlation analysis, none of the variables has a correlation of more than 0.80, so which signifies that there is no multicollinearity problem. And about the multiple regression analysis, I have done the analysis in 4 parts. As I said, from 2005 to 2022, the R square was 26.81, which signifies that this model is not up to the mark, but I found the significance of board size and outside directors, and my hypotheses were accepted as they were negatively correlated. And then I divided the time frame into three segments where the corporate governance codes were implemented. And here I found that the board size and outside directors were negatively correlated, and they were significant as well. On top of that, managerial ownership had a positive relationship, which signifies the hypothesis as well. From the period of 2012 to 2017, the board size and outside directors were also the negatively correlated, which uh, accepted my hypothesis. And from 2018 to 2022, my managerial ownership, which was negatively correlated, but I cannot accept this hypothesis because my hypothesis was there is a positive relationship. However, the meeting were also the non-significant as well. So lastly, about the conclusion. So the main idea of this paper is to identify the relationship between board characteristics and capital structure. And the empirical results found that the factors of both size and outside directors are negatively related to capital structure. The study established the control variable, named the return on asset, have no impact on the capital structure. And in conclusion, having good corporate governance provide various benefits to a company or any other kind of businesses. So as I said earlier, this is one of my working paper, and I will definitely update this paper with adding other data time frame or other industries as well. So for the time being, I just presented this paper based on the tannery industries of Bangladesh. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you so much.